Elon, I've repeatedly declined to criticize you and have nothing to do with your beef with Substack. Is there a reason why I'm still put in the middle of these things? This seems crazy.
You are dead to me. Matt Taibbi is a journalist of the highest order. He'll remind you a lot, by the way, that he's a real journalist who does real journalism, and he's to be respected as a authority figure. He was known as perhaps more of a left-wing or left-leaning journalist, someone who wrote for a number of publications and outlets on a variety of topics, oftentimes opposing Donald Trump, opposing, the far-right march towards fascism and authoritarianism, that kind of stuff, and slowly started to pivot a bit until he was given, or gifted, I should say, the golden opportunity, and that was to be the first ever journalist to report on the Twitter files. Yes, Elon Musk's exclusive leaks that would be released exclusively on his platform to distract people at the time from a lot of the fucked up shit that was happening in Twitter. But the Twitter files, of which now there's so many of them at this point, I can't... What number are we at now? It's got to be like 40 or something like that. The very first one was released by Matt Taibbi. And he was rightfully fucking, disgraced for it for a number of reasons. One, the whole thing was basically a PR opportunity stint for Elon Musk to be able to promote his own narrative. Matt Taibbi also helped Elon Musk promote that own narrative. Elon Musk had the final say, the editorial control over the entire thing, as in if there's something in there that he didn't want, Matt wasn't going to be allowed to publish it. And the whole thing was set up in such a way that, hey, by the way, I hope you all know this, the Democrats, just the Democrats, well, they were given special privilege, as were liberals, back in the day, and they could, ask for favors to get certain content taken down, like Joe Biden asking for stuff taken down. And when people went through his Twitter files, of which were incredibly redacted and edited in such a way that, like, even with all that, it was very clear that this wasn't a liberal, aka a Democrat or Republican thing. This was simply people in positions of power thing, which of course most people could tell you that they already knew that like massive social media companies, of course, most likely are given requests by the U.S. government that they will, if they feel it adheres to their own principles, values, and everything, will take into consideration and or do, because yeah, of course, they want to be on good terms with the U.S. government. And the Twitter files in question that Matt Taibbi released actually came out at a time when Donald Trump was the president. So if anything, it was demonstrating that the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself had asked for favors, had asked for certain, tweets and stuff to be taken down, or certain topics to not be trending and stuff like that. And so did the Democrats. Both political parties in the United States have asked social media companies at one point or another whether or not they would be able to comply with their requests. That's different than the U.S. government controls Twitter, which is the narrative, obviously, that I think, not just the U.S. government, but they wanted to put forward that Joe Biden and the Democrats control Twitter. And that was kind of the whole point. So Matt Taibbi releases the whole thing. It's really, really funny because when you read the first Twitter files, we read the whole thing like in detail, every single one of the tweets, because it's not a news article. You have to go through like 40 individual tweets. The whole thing's written with such delusions of grandeur by its author, who feels like he's like uncovered the Sherlock Holmes-esque mystery. It's like, but forthwith you thought that this was what we perceive, but doth I say this was not the truth, like shit like that, where you're just like, oh my god, Matt, like fucking dial it back a little bit, oh my god. But anyways, that came out. Matt Taibbi, his popularity explodes. He suddenly fucking, his account on Twitter is massive. He has thousands and thousands of likes on his posts and followers, and all like, oh my god, Matt Taibbi's telling the truth. Then he starts doing more and more right-wing circles, popping up in more right-wing corners of the internet, suddenly going on, Ben Shapiro's show to talk about how Matt Walsh had actually made a really, really good documentary, What is a Woman, and that it was really funny to him, and they didn't understand why everyone was thinking that it was transphobic. And then he's like, it's just like, it sucks now because, like, how did he put it? He's like, yeah, it's just like, it's terrible that like the left can't make jokes and they're not funny, but it's the right who are like really funny now, that kind of shit. And you're just like, holy fuck, this guy. If you ever want to watch like a rapid file heel turn just for opportunism, because you were granted quote-unquote exclusive access to the story before anyone else was. Like, what, was Glenn Greenwald not available? And Glenn Greenwald obviously did what you'd expect him to, and just like, well, the truth has been said, Matt Taibbi has revealed in the Twitter files, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's kind of funny. You never got tapped, Glenn. Matt got tapped instead. Either way, so that was the first of them. He's come back to reveal and leak the DMs between him and Elon Musk, because Elon Musk, like every other dictator or tyrant or billionaire, only likes you insofar as you are useful to him. When you are no longer useful to him or his bottom line, he will cast you astray so fast. He doesn't want to play with you anymore. He'll just drop you in the fucking rubbish bin. And that's what happened to Matt Taibbi. And I think it was over Substack. It was the fact that Matt Taibbi was promoting a lot of this stuff on Substack, or promoting his Substack account, all this, and you know, Elon Musk doesn't want people going to, you know, other websites besides his. So, you know, don't share Substack links, please. Just share Twitter X file links and shit.
So Matt, I gotta say I read most of it. I originally read about it. You make some really tough points. I know you're not a partisan guy. I know you're not a big Trump supporter per se. But it is interesting that Democrats thought Trump was going to blame them for being an insurrection. Now they're blaming Trump. Now they're trying to sabotage the election. Everything is lawfare. Keep him off the ballot. And riff on this, because this is dynamite stuff. Hadn't gotten
riff on this, you know, just wax poetic for a little while on the exact things you want you to like talk about. You get the cues here, right? Not being too subtle. All right, yeah, just go nuts.
Looking at what we found, we don't have to make claims about it. They're upset about it because of what they're reading.
Well, not everyone's upset, and you do make claims, so let's talk about that today. And Matt, we're going to disagree a lot today. You've already started with disagreement, so let's start with some agreement. Should the FBI be wasting so much time and taxpayers' money flagging so many tweets to Twitter? In my view, no. Does the FBI have far too cozy a relationship with social media companies? Yes, I agree. But do your files provide evidence of government censorship? I don't think so. Let's just take the very first example you cited in the very first thread, which went mad viral. You wrote, by 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back, handled. Now, that sounds bad, but aside from the fact that the Biden team was not the government at the time, it turns out that at least 3, maybe 4 of those 5 tweet URLs that you linked to, that they link back to non-consensual nude images of Hunter Biden. Why was it?
Now I remember this. Yeah, I definitely remember this. Matt Taibbi did not do well, especially because, like, you know, Mediazon always has receipts, right? So he's going to bring up the receipts. And it's like, yeah, in the case of the Hunter Biden story, it was like they had multiple requests to take down what was essentially non-consensual naked photos of Hunter Biden. And then he keeps pointing that out without describing what exactly they're talking about. That complied with the policies of Twitter at the time, which was their policies against revenge porn. Yeah, it was.
Wrong math.
It's not like, take care of this thing for us, handled. Yes. Don't worry, censorship achieved. Joe Biden, future president. You know, like the way it's worded.
For the Biden campaign, not the government at the time, to ask Twitter to enforce its own terms of service against people basically posting revenge porn. Do you understand why people question your credibility on this whole project when you omit such crucial context right from the get-go?
First of all, the reason that's important is because the ordinary person can't just call up Twitter and have something taken off Twitter. If you put something nasty about me on Twitter, I can't just call up Twitter and talk.
Matt Taibbi learns what a social media company structure is. Like, yeah, I assume not just the RNC and the DNC, but massive corporations have a lot more power, capital, if you will, under capitalism, and influence upon other massive corporations and industries. For example, if Coca-Cola was suddenly doing a slogan where they were like, hey, by the way, we deeply, deeply hate blank, and then a company was like, hey, by the way, we actually represent blank, we would ask that you stop using that in that way, they might listen to them as opposed to just a random person on the street who comes up and says, hey, by the way, you shouldn't say that about blank. How dare you speak ill of blank? And yes, I would expect that the RNC, the DNC have done multiple requests to social media companies. Then the social media companies, because they are the ultimate arbiters of this, they're the dictators, they get to choose, they would pick And they could say, yes, all right, we were going to comply with your request, and obviously we're going to answer it a lot quicker than we would a regular person. That much is true. But that's not the same as the conspiracy that he's pitching and selling to you. That, like, Joe Brandon, who's not the president of the United States at the time, has the ability to have Twitter on the phone to just randomly be like, take that down, we comply. And that's it. Right? Those are two very different things. Use social media knows that it's very difficult to try and, you know, get any kind of feedback, submit a complaint, you know, you have to start a ticket, something like that. Like, yeah, absolutely. That this is a problem with social media, though. This is not a problem with the Democrats specifically.
And you discover that actually it was simply a violation of Twitter's terms of service, that these were nude, non-consensual images for Hunter Biden. Why not mention that? Did you not know? In which case, no. That's kind of incompetent. Or did you know and you were just hiding it from people?
Incompetent?
I mean, if you didn't know, if you put up
MSNBC, my God, you got 6 consecutive years of just screw-ups on the Russia stuff.
So this is some classic defensive tactics here, debate bro tactics. How dare you question me specifically about a specific thing that I'm not going to answer specifically. Instead, I'm now going to attack your character and your credibility. It's called a whataboutism.
Well, that was predictable. If we're going to do predictable.
Oh, sorry, no, that's an ad hominem.
Was in the URLs
yeah, that's an ad hominem. Sorry.
What was in the URLs?
Why didn't you tell us?
I don't need to.
Because it's relevant. You don't think it's relevant that it's a violation of Twitter's terms of service to have nude pictures of Hunter Biden up?
Look, every time they make a request to Twitter, they're doing what you're arguing. They're making the argument that, oh, we're not actually asking. This isn't censoring. This is just the government pointing out that
that's what the emails show that you posted. They don't demand anything, do they? They say, can you check if this is in line with your terms of service? And those URLs weren't. So I'm wondering why you wouldn't mention that.
First of all, the government, I can't even report that yet. All right.
This is too top secret. No one's allowed to know.
When they're doing this, it's self-evident what they're doing. And I don't have to make claims about what it is. I can just show you what they're doing.
Yeah, and so we saw it, and then we saw, as it's been pointed out to you, that this was not, in fact, a demand or request for government censorship because they weren't the active government at the time. This, again, is a private corporation, the DNC, and the DNC asking on the behalf, hey, by the way, this violates your TOS, can you take it down? I said, yeah, okay, that does violate our TOS, we will be taking it down.
Everybody knows.
But you didn't, Matt. That's the problem. You didn't show the world that the Biden campaign asked for nude images. You didn't. Other people pointed out what those URLs were. You never did. And that's the problem, Matt. There's a lot of omission.
There's a lot of that I wrote. Am I going to describe every single thing that I published?
If it's directly prescient to your argument, I would say yes. Yes. Well, see, by omission, that shows that you knew that people would think, oh, but that is actually technically not permitted on the platform, so that seems like a reasonable request. But it seems way more like, woo, look at this. This was government censorship at the highest levels.
That was the first Twitter file and the most viral tweet. Noam Chomsky, who you know and I know and we like,
said, about a subject you guys screwed up.
Said one of the, and we'll come back to that. Said one of the greatest forms of censorship in the media is censorship by omission. You've heard that quote. There's a lot of omission in the Twitter files. A lot you and your colleagues don't tell us. You mentioned in passing, for example, in your very first thread that the Trump White House made requests of Twitter too, i.e. the actual government, not the Biden campaign. But you didn't tell us what those Trump requests were. It took an actual Twitter whistleblower. Well, it took an actual Twitter whistleblower in front of Congress to reveal that Trump once demanded Twitter take down a mean tweet about him from the model Chrissy Teigen. You didn't mention that in any of your Twitter files posts.
Because I didn't have that story. I don't have it.
Doesn't that tell you something? That you had the Biden story and not the Trump story, that Elon Musk was giving you one side of the story?
No, you don't understand. First of all, that first batch of files resulted in the firing of Twitter's general counsel. We were looking at something on a very short time frame, but we didn't have
enough time to dot the I's and cross the T's. That's what the problem was.
I went out of my way to report that fact.
And again, the reason why this was also sad is just like the posturing You know, that like not only Matt Taibbi, but like everyone else who was helping Matt Taibbi along the way, Glenn Greenwald included. It's like, yeah, this is like a bombshell revelation. No one's ever done this before. Brave Elon Musk came along, took over a company, and saw that the whole thing was actually a crime scene. He said as much, and now he's leaking parts of that crime scene specifically to people he trusts, who he also has editorial control of everything that they release, and then he's using that as an opportunity to reveal a very specific narrative about this. Like that's what it was. But again, just like, no, I'm a journalist. I revealed the highest levels of corruption from the government that wasn't in power.
I was the first person who reported that Donald Trump made requests and had them honored on Twitter.
But you outlined which ones the Biden team did without giving full context, but you didn't outline which ones the Trump. Well, maybe you should ask yourself why it is you didn't have it. Let me ask you this. A lot of your own Twitter files reporting shows top Twitter employees
they don't have it either, by the way. The whistleblower in Congress didn't have it either.
I know, but she did say under oath that this actually happened, so you can accuse her of what you want later.
I don't have to accuse them.
So, it sounds like you are. Out of interest, Matt, the emails you show really difficult content moderation decisions. They don't show Twitter rolling over. They show people actually having really interesting discussions, unlike now where Elon Musk just dictates that NPR is state-affiliated and it happens overnight. They also show Twitter resisting requests to things that members of Congress have asked them to take down, members of the FBI. So I wonder, how do you call this a censorship industrial complex when Twitter, according to your own files, is saying no a lot of the time? I mean, if it was censorship, they'd have just rolled over every time Agent Chan of the FBI or Congressman Adam Schiff made a demand, but they didn't.
I published an explicit tweet which describes Twitter's internal ads policy, where they say publicly, we are going to represent that we make these decisions at our sole discretion. Internally, we are going to act when the U.S. intelligence agency, the U.S. intelligence community,
by the way, the reason I'm playing this out is A, because it's fucking hilarious, but B, also, it really does show you how far Matt was willing at the time to fight on the behalf of Elon Musk's narrative, to do his little fucking, you know, billionaire PR campaign for no money, by the way. This was just 100% for clout. Matt has made it very clear multiple times he was not paid for any of this, but he was clear in that he was, you know, controlled editorially by what he could publish by Elon Musk, and in turn, Elon Musk has now, you know, I don't want to play with you, has been, you know, tossing him aside for a while, and so Matt has finally come back and leaked Elon Musk's, you know, DMs between the two of them.
That's the quote. When the U.S. intelligence community determines that an account is linked to a foreign malign threat actor. So they're talking about their two-phase system in the document. Now,
but your words, Matt, you say, to their credit, they turned down requests. You say it yourself. Those are your words in the Twitter files.
Yeah, they did, but this is a story that has multiple layers to it. The government is...
And you reported one layer. A very specific layer, you know? You may think that's the most delicious layer of the cake, but everyone wanted the full cake.
Constantly applying pressure to these companies. It starts with a baseline of them not wanting to be engaged at all with the government, or to have a very limited relationship. The door gets kicked open when in 2017, particularly in the fall of 2017, when the Senate Intelligence Committee starts leaning on Twitter to endorse their accusations that there had been a substantial number of bots linked to Russia's Internet Research Agency. And essentially, it was made plain to Twitter that they would both be subject to lots of bad press and perhaps increased regulation if they didn't communicate with the Senate Intelligence Committee in the way that they wanted.
But communicating is not rolling over, Matt. All I'm saying is I don't see the evidence. If I saw evidence... They didn't. Adam Schiff says take down a tweet, and they don't, according to your own files.
What's Adam Schiff going to do? Is he going to...
I love the response to a direct call out with specific evidence and receipts. And then, oh, well, I mean, Adam Schiff. I mean, what's he going to do? Like, yeah, I'm not refuting anything you just said. That is accurate, but
is Adam Schiff the CIA? Is the CIA going to come to Twitter and say,
do you have evidence? So do you have evidence that the CIA demanded a tweet got taken down and they did it immediately? I haven't seen it.
we think it's the CIA.
Is this part of the part that you're not allowed to tell anyone yet at this point in time? It's like,
I can't reveal that yet.
That quote unquote other government agencies were we know that the CIA was present.
You think it's the CIA? You began the interview saying you don't make claims; it's just evidence. Okay, let's talk about your evidence, Matt. Because as I said.
That is aggressive debate tactics. He ends like every single obvious call out and like terrible response by him by being like, yeah, and that's why you're wrong. Anyways, let's move on to the next question right now.
Wait a minute. Why people worry about?
I actually thought that.
And why didn't you fix it? I just checked the tweet before I came on air. It's been 3 weeks since it was flagged to you. Why not fix it? Do you not have editors at the racket?
I didn't realize that until now.
Oof. Oh yeah, no, this was brutal.
Okay, and what about the date? You got the date wrong when it was founded. You said it was founded in response to the disinformation board. That was last year.
Well, because Stamos is saying in the video that we were sort of created to fill the gaps.
But no, that's not what you say in the tweet. That's not what you say in the tweet.
The SIO was created in 2000.
Oh yeah, he did. He does add the A there. I forgot about that tweet. According to the CISA, escalated advisory.
You say in the tweet. That's not what you say in the tweet.
The SIO was created in 2008.
No. You say, this is what you say, that the EIP was created after the public uproar paused the disinformation board. That's wrong. You need to correct that as well, don't you?
After the...
That's what your words. You say, to quote you, after public uproar, pause the Orwellian Disinformation Governance Board. Stanford created.
You can see what I mean, by the way, like the delusions of grandeur. He added so much of this. It was like there was a lot of fan fiction going on. The Orwellian Disinformation Government Board of the DHS,
The EIP. That's wrong.
Well, that's what they say.
You could check. You don't need sources, Matt. You could check the EIP website. It says it was created in 2020.
You should at this point revert back to the parts that we're not allowed to know, that you have secret information that you're not allowed to reveal. You can't reveal your sources. No journalist can. So just be like, I'm not allowed to tell you this yet. There's more secrets. There's going to be more Twitter files. You just wait.
Well, that's the date that I just said.
And the disinformation board was 2022.
Okay. All right. Well, then that is an error.
Okay, so let's talk about Elon Musk. We're talking about Twitter files. You have talked about why you don't want to reveal that he's your source, even though he's basically outed himself as his source. I get that you don't want to reveal your source as you're a journalist, but Barry Weiss has outed him. He's outed himself. What's interesting about Elon Musk is that we checked. You've tweeted over 30 times about Musk since he announced he was going to buy Twitter last April, and not a word of criticism about him in any of those 30-plus tweets. Musk is a billionaire who's been found to have violated labor laws multiple times, including in the past few days. He's attacked labor unions, reportedly fired employees on a whim, slammed the idea of a wealth tax, told his...
I hadn't planned to watch this much of it. I completely forgot how amazing this whole fucking debate was.
Millions of followers to vote Republican last year.
Yeah, Barry Weiss, I believe, was the Twitter files 2 or 3. They hate each other now, by the way. Barry Weiss and Musk started fighting.
Whoever we want. And yet you've been silent on all of that. How did you go, Matt, from being the scourge of Wall Street, the man who called Goldman Sachs the vampire squid, to being unwilling to say anything critical at all about this right-wing reactionary anti-union billionaire?
Hello? Am I still on?
Yes, you're still on. I'm just wondering how come you've never criticized Musk despite all that?
Look, so I like Elon Musk. I met him. This is part of the calculation when you do the...
So you believe in nothing.
It's just, he was nice to me. I like him. He makes cool things like dragons and flamethrowers.
One of these stories, are they going to give you information that's going to make you look stupid? Do you think their motives are sincere about doing X or Y? And I didn't. I thought. I mean, I did. I thought his motives were sincere about the Twitter files, and I admired them. I think he did a tremendous public service in opening the files up. But that doesn't mean I have to agree with him about everything. And
I agree with you. But
yeah, but he's saying that you've openly praised him in all your public statements about him on the platform that he took over. That was the question. Not do you agree with everything that Elon Musk says? That was not the question.
You never disagree with him. You've gone silent. People would say that's access journalism.
No, I haven't reported anything that limits my ability to talk about Elon Musk.
So will you criticize him today? For banning journalists, for working with Modi government to shut down speech, for being anti-union. You can go for it. I'll give you as much time as you like.
Making his workers go back to work under terrible conditions, under COVID, the extreme racism at his plants, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of fucking reasons why you can criticize Elon Musk.
Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to.
Don't make me do it.
Look, I didn't criticize him really before. And I think that what the Twitter files are is a step in the right direction.
But it's the same Twitter that he's running right now.
I disagree with him. If you want to ask, I think this
understood, Matt. Well, I'll ask you a specific one.
No.
It's not in bad faith, Matt. Sorry. You say that Twitter... Hold on. Let me finish my question. You're saying that he's good for Twitter and good for speech. I'm saying he's using Twitter to help one of the most right-wing governments in the world censor speech. I will criticize that. Will you?
I have to look at the story first. I'm not looking.
Yeah. Oh, this is the first I've heard of it. What? So since Elon Musk took over, and you can Google this headline, it'll pop up, he has complied with more government censorship requests than any other administration that has run Twitter before. So the free speech space Karen, Elon Musk, the person who's supposed to be, I just care about free speech. He just cares about what speech he wants the freest. But when it comes to, again, authoritarian far-right governments like Modi's, who have requested multiple times that he do censorship on the behalf of the government, totally fine doing that. Completely fine. It has no problems whatsoever silencing people's speech if they are dissidents of Modi.
I don't watch the Mehdi Hassan show.
You do. Actually, you do.
What was that? I don't watch you.
Because you tweeted at me saying, invite me on the show. And
I want to hear that one time.
Story 2 weeks ago, you tweeted at me, invite...
I don't watch the Mehdi Hassan show.
Right, let's slow this down for the instant replay.
Story 2 weeks ago, you tweeted at me, invite...
I don't watch the Mehdi Hassan show.
You do, actually, you do.
For the whole, like, using Substack, and he was really, really mad about the Substack stuff. But anyways, he said, since Elon Musk published parts of these conversations, I might as well include others. I was under a, quote, blanket search ban at one point, and a lot of my 1.9 million followers still don't see my content. Aww. Well, that's sad. Elon Musk, he gave you everything, then he took it away. He took away all your powers. Almost like he doesn't care about you at all. What was this say? Didn't he hook you up with the Twitter files thinking you could only post on X? Outside looking in, very obviously he feels like you betrayed that agreement, as in you posted some additional information on Substack. After Matt Taibbi had been called out effectively for basically just doing PR for Elon Musk, like the world's richest man, and rightfully mocked for that, he then tried to, like, you know, scurry and be like, oh, you don't know the full story, here, I'll post it to my Substack exclusive. And I guess Elon didn't like that. No, the arrangement was very specific and we adhered to it. All breaking news stories from the files had to come out of Twitter. Past that, he didn't care. Even after the disagreement, I never broke the deal. The issue was his dispute with Substack. So let's see. Leaked emails.
Elon, am I being shadow banned? Elon, help me, daddy.
We went on lockdown after discovering that Substack had stolen a massive amount of our data to repopulate or pre-populate their Twitter ripoff. Looks like there's still a blanket search ban. Should be fixed by tomorrow. Going forward, tweets with Substack will not appear in the For You unless it is paid advertising. Just like Facebook, Insta, etc., they will appear in following.
Elon, I've repeatedly declined to criticize you and have nothing to do with your beef with Substack. Is there a reason why I'm still put in the middle of these things? This seems crazy.
You are dead to me. I love that, just out of nowhere. You're dead to me. I have no son. Cast astray. Without any explanation either. You are dead to me. Please get off Twitter and just stay on Substack. It's a great betrayal. And again, he's still pleading with them. I gave you everything, Father. Please, please. I repeatedly declined to criticize you. I repeatedly declined. Many have asked. I have been asked, but I held my tongue as you asked me, Father. Please, am I not worth your love? Allow me back into the bosom. So yeah, you're dead to me. Please get off Twitter and just stay on Substack. This is about the Substack thing? Seriously? Oh, I love this so much. Yeah. The lesson of the story is never trust billionaires. I know they may pretend they care about you. I'm sure this was a golden opportunity. I'm sure it was just really, really neat, you know, to be allowed into the inner circle for a little while and to have Elon Musk be like, yeah, so I'm looking for a journalist to report on the story. I'm going to really release in a whole bunch of sensitive files no one else has access to. I am going to be controlling how you report about this, but I think you understand how I want this story to go. I would prefer that you kind of made this a story about collusions between the government and Twitter, most likely from the Democrats. So do whatever you need to do. Get out there and say, you know, Joe Brandon was trying to get this whole thing done, say the Democrats are, you know, really, really bad, that kind of stuff. Tell that story. And then, like, you look at the files, it's like, Elon says here that this happened when Trump was president. It's like, oh, well, I mean, that's for you, baby. I mean, you do the spin. You're the spin doctor. I'm just here to give you what you need and to make sure you do the right thing. And then outside of that, that's up to you. You have, what did they say? Carte blanche? Artistic license. You can spin this however you want. Go nuts. Go nuts. Just make sure you do the right thing. And continue to do the right thing. Yeah. Don't talk about this on other platforms. You can only talk about this on Twitter. So if you're going to write rebuttals or stuff like that, it has to be on Twitter. Don't you dare go to some third-party site like Substack. Yeah. You are dead to me. I love that. You are dead to me. This is crushing my soul. Seems like a pretty large scandal for the supposed 1A platform if this is true. Yeah, almost like the whole thing's a massive lie. They're lying to you. They don't give two fucking shits about free speech. They never did. Like, again, Twitter fulfilling more government censorship requests under Musk. Twitter has complied with at least partially with 98.8% of takedown requests under Elon Musk's ownership, data shows. Twitter compiled at least partially with almost every other government request to take down content after Elon Musk, the self-described free speech absolutist, took over the platform. Twitter's self-reported data shows the social media giant fully or partially complied with 98.8% of takedowns requests and received from October 27th, the data Musk takeover, from April 13th, including hundreds of requests from Turkey and India, which they have faced criticism for silencing critics. Because, yeah, of course they did. Like, I know this whole thing feels like it's some kind of a conspiracy, but I promise you it's not. It's just life.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Can you please hit the like and subscribe button and maybe leave a comment? It really does help the videos out. But first, the people who produce everything you see before you and make this entire channel possible: Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Puppy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian DeMel, Trevbot.exe, Words Greenwood, and Travis McClinton. And also, thank you to every other person who helps fund this show. Their names are on the screen right now. It would not be possible without every single one of them. We cannot thank you enough. And if you want to join the Patreon, please come to patreon.com/theserfs and help us exist.